Good morning, students. We have started chapter 2, sexual reproduction in flowering plants. In this, we are discussing about the process of sexual reproduction. The process of sexual reproduction in flowering plants divides into 3 steps: pre-fertilization, double fertilization and post-fertilization events. Pre-fertilization events we have discussed. In this we have discussed that first is pollen grain formation, embryo sac formation. After that pollination take place. After pollination pollen pistil interaction take place, है ना. प्री-फर्टिलाइजेशन इवेंट में हमने ये देखा था, सबसे पहले मेल गैमेट पॉलन ग्रेन की फॉर्मेशन, उसके बाद फीमेल गैमेट एम्ब्रियो सैक की फॉर्मेशन, फिर उसके बाद पॉलिनेशन हुआ. दैट मीन्स मेल गैमेट लैंड ऑन द स्टिग्मा ऑफ द फीमेल गैमेट. ओके, एंड after the pollination pollen pistil interaction take place. In this pollen grain germinate and form pollen tube that enter into the ovule through the micropylar end. After that next topic is double fertilization. ये तो pre-fertilization events we have discussed. Now today we are going to start double fertilization. Next step is double fertilization. Okay, after entering pollen tube into the one of the synergid, it releases 2 male nuclei into the cytoplasm of the synergid. क्या होगा, ये जब pollen tube जो है synergid सेल में एंटर करती है, आफ्टर एंटरिंग this releases these 2 male nuclei into the cytoplasm of the synergid. These are the 2 male nuclei. Okay, this is the antipodal cells. This is the central cell that has 2 polar nuclei. This is egg cell. These are 2 synergid cells. These are the 2 male gametes. Okay, after entering in one of the synergid, pollen tube releases the 2 male nuclei into the cytoplasm of the synergid. One of the male nuclei move towards the egg cell. Okay, one male nuclei move towards the egg cell and fuse with egg cell. Okay, this is called syngamy. Fertilization हो गया. Okay, 2 haploid cells fuse. This is known as syngamy. After that diploid cell, zygote is formed. Clear? And the second other male gamete move towards the central cell. Polar nuclei move towards the polar nuclei which are present in central cell and fuse with them. एक मेल गैमेट तो क्या होगा, एग सेल के साथ फ्यूज हो जाएगा. सेकेंड क्या होगा, सेंट्रल पोलर न्यूक्लियाई की तरफ मूव करेगा जो सेंट्रल सेल के अंदर प्रेजेंट है और उनके साथ जाकर क्या हो जाएगा, फ्यूज हो जाएगा. ओके, यहाँ पर क्या हो रहा है, 3 हैप्लॉइड न्यूक्लियाई आपस में क्या हो रहा है, फ्यूजन. दिस इज द फ्यूजन ऑफ 3 haploid cell. So this is known as triple fusion. This is known as triple fusion. There are 2 time fusion take place. So this is known as double fertilization. Okay, एक बार तो यहाँ पर egg cell के साथ fusion हुआ. This is known as syngamy. And second fusion is there is the triple fusion. take place in embryo sac. So this is termed as double fertilization. Clear? When the second male gamete move towards the polar nuclei located in the central cell, okay, it produces the primary endosperm nucleus. Okay, when it move towards the polar nuclei that are located in central cell, after that these male gamete fuse with them to produce the primary endosperm nucleus. PEN. PEN. Short form of this is PEN. PEN. Primary endosperm nucleus बन जाता है. So there is two types of fusion take place. One is syngamy and second is triple fusion take place in embryo sac. So this is known as double fertilization. This is the unique event to flowering plants. Flowering plants का ये क्या है? एक unique event है. Okay. After the triple fusion, central cell becomes the primary endosperm cell. After the triple fusion, this central cell becomes the primary endosperm cell and develops into endosperm. After that, this develops into endosperm. Okay, after triple fusion, the central cell becomes the primary endosperm cell and develops into the endosperm. And the zygote, this is the zygote develops into an embryo. So these are the post-fertilization events. Yes, zygote develops into an embryo and the primary endosperm cell develops into endosperm. So these are the post-fertilization events. And this ovule develops into seeds. Ovule develops into seeds and the ovary develops into fruit. So these are the post-fertilization events. Okay. The post-fertilization events we will discuss in our next video. Okay. Today we have discussed double fertilization. I hope you understand this. Yes. हमने इस पे क्या देखा? देखो सबसे पहले सेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन जो फ्लावरिंग प्लांट्स में है, सेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन है तो सबसे पहले हमें क्या चाहिए? गैमेट्स चाहिए, मेल गैमेट और फीमेल गैमेट. ठीक है. और फिर हमें पता है कि फर्टिलाइजेशन क्या होता है? फ्यूजन ऑफ मेल एंड फीमेल गैमेट. फिर उनका क्या होगा? फ्यूजन होगा. तो फर्टिलाइजेशन से पहले है ना हमें वो गैमेट्स चाहिए, मेल और फीमेल गैमेट चाहिए. तो उन्हें हम क्या बोलेंगे? प्री फर्टिलाइजेशन इवेंट्स. उनकी फॉर्मेशन को हम क्या बोलेंगे? प्री फर्टिलाइजेशन इवेंट्स. तो प्री फर्टिलाइजेशन इवेंट्स को हमने क्या है 4 स्टेप्स में डिवाइड किया. pollen grain formation, embryo sac formation, pollination and pollen pistil interaction. pollen grain formation से हमें मेल गैमेट मिला, एम्ब्रियो सैक फॉर्मेशन से हमें फीमेल गैमेट मिला, है ना. अब फ्यूजन के लिए क्या चाहिए हमें? मेल गैमेट का फीमेल गैमेट तक पहुंचना जरूरी है, बिकॉज मेल गैमेट इज मोटाइल एंड द फीमेल गैमेट इज स्टेशनरी. सो मेल गैमेट मूव टूवर्ड्स द फीमेल गैमेट. ओके, व्हेन द मेल गैमेट मूव टूवर्ड्स द फीमेल गैमेट, okay, this process is known as pollination. Okay, after the third step pollination starts. It means transfer of pollen grain from anther to stigma of the pistil. This is known as pollination. After pollination, pollen grain land on the stigma of the pistil. After that, it start germination. It start to germinate. Okay, pollen grain starts germinate. Okay, this is from here pollen pistil interaction starts. ओके पॉलिनेशन के बाद क्या हो जाएगा, अब पॉलन और पिस्टिल के बीच में बातचीत इंटरेक्शन स्टार्ट हो जाएगी. व्हेन पॉलन लैंड ऑन द स्टिग्मा ऑफ द पिस्टिल इट स्टार्ट्स जर्मिनेट एंड फॉर्म पॉलन ट्यूब. ओके एंड द जनरेटिव सेल ऑफ पॉलन ग्रेन डिवाइड्स into two male nuclei and form two male nuclei. These two male nuclei move into the pollen tube. Okay, after that this pollen tube grows through stigma, style and reaches the ovary and enter the ovule through the micropylar end and enter in one of the synergid cell. Okay, there is a filiform apparatus that guide the entry of the pollen tube into synergid cell. After entering pollen in synergid cell, pollen tube releases their male nuclei in the cytoplasm of the synergid cell. One male nuclei move towards the egg cell and fuse them. This is called syngamy because this is the fusion of two haploid nucleus. This is known as syngamy or fertilization. And there is diploid cell form, zygote is formed. Clear? This is known as syngamy. As a result, diploid cell, zygote is formed. Other male gamete move towards the central cell, okay, and fuse with polar nuclei, forming the primary endosperm nucleus. There is the three haploid cells are fused, so this is known as triple fusion. So in this way there are two fusions take place. One is syngamy and second is triple fusion. Take place in embryo sac. In embryo sac there is two fusions take place. One is syngamy and second is triple fusion. So this phenomenon is termed as double fertilization. दो बार fertilization हो रहा है, एक बार 2 haploid nucleus का और एक बार 3 haploid nucleus का. This is a unique event of flowering plants. Flowering plants का ये एक unique event है. Okay, and after the triple fusion, central cell develops into primary endosperm cell and after that develops into endosperm. तो यहाँ ट्रिपल सेंट्रल सेल से तो क्या हो जाएगा, एंडोस्पर्म की फॉर्मेशन एंड while the zygote develops into an embryo. Zygote develops into an embryo and the ovule develops into seeds and ovary develops into fruit. So these are the post-fertilization events for development of endosperm, development of embryo, development of seed and development of fruit. These are the post-fertilization events. About this we will discuss in our next video. Okay? After the double fertilization, these antipodal cells starts degenerating. These antipodal cells degenerate. ये degenerate हो जाती हैं. साथ में synergid cells भी after syngamy, synergid cells degenerate. Okay, and लास्ट में क्या रह जाएगा, सिर्फ एंडोस्पर्म और embryo. Okay, after double fertilization, antipodal cell starts degenerating. These are degenerate and synergid cells also degenerate. So in this way only endosperm and embryo are left. Clear? So this is about double fertilization. I hope you understand this. So students, watch video carefully Read this topic from your book. Any doubt, any query, you are free to ask me. Thank you, students. Have a nice day.